Jayne, so wonderful to have the opportunity to talk to you. My goodness,
Thanks.
I've been doing this a long time and following your career since day
Aw,
one, like honestly. And I used to work at Global Television, and so we go way, way back. And before we get into everything, you're always so wonderful in everything that you
thank you.
take on. But I always love seeing you as the kind of curmudgeony,
Oh, I
bitchy,
know.
I
I
love it.
know.
And Jean in this film and Jump Darling,
What a
she's
bitch.
not really that nice to Cloris Leachman.
Just awful.
How hard was that for you, Jayne Eastwood?
Well, it was, I can go there, as you know. I don't know if you've seen Hey Lady, but I can really go there.
Yeah,
I thought I was a nice person, but I guess there's something, anyway, it's just fun to do.
yeah,
And Cloris and I knew each other from Showboat, right? But maybe
yes,
you knew that.
I did.
And I understudied, or we would call it, I was her first cover in Showboat. Like I was in the play,
Yeah,
and I really needed the money. I actually, I remember my manager saying, well, if anybody could replace, oh, what's her name in Showboat? The one who, blonde hair, the one who's saying, here's to the ladies at lunch.
oh my
You
God.
know,
Yeah,
you know who I'm talking about.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
it's like, if anybody can replace her, it's Jayne Eastwood. We said, well, that's fine. But we have Cloris Leachman. Would Jayne like to understudy? I went, oh no, I want to do that. But I needed the money and I had a ball. I had so much fun. Cloris was great.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning she had a movie to do. So, I covered for her, and she said, you can have my chauffeur, you can have my apartment, whatever you want to make you happy. And
Wow.
she was very generous. She was a crazy gal.
Yeah.
She had zero filter. No filter at all, but a
What
heart
we
of
love
gold.
about her, well,
I know.
for sure. But
She had a heart of gold.
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I was just interviewing Thomas and Phil just a few minutes ago, and I
Oh,
would say,
wow, cool.
yeah, and there's, they only had great things to say about you, of course. But what I found so interesting about this is I had watched the movie originally back in the fall when it was at the Inside Down Festival, and then
Yeah.
and then they said, you know what, we'll do the interviews later when the movie opens. And I said, no problem, whatever. And then I watched it again just this past week, and then, but knowing that Cloris is no longer with
Oh,
us
I
made
know.
me look at the film in a different way, not meaning to, but just how much you have to appreciate people while they're here.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Loved her in this. I thought she was beyond brilliant. I mean, it's wonderful that of all films that was Cloris's last film. I'm really happy for her, and I'm happy for Phil, and I'm happy for Thomas that
Yeah.
that's the way it worked out. Not that I wanted Cloris to die. I mean,
No.
that's fair, but you know what I mean. For this to be her
Yeah.
swan song is serendipitous, I think, because it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
People are going to go nuts when they see this. And Thomas is just, come on.
Yeah.
That guy is just wonderful. I could watch him endlessly.
He really
Endlessly.
is. Yeah. And they had a great chemistry together
Did
too.
they
And
ever?
yeah, and I was saying the exact same thing, that for this to be her last film, and a Canadian small budget, she comes to Toronto, you shoot in Prince Edward County.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really
and
fun.
never a bad word ever spoken about Cloris Leachman, that she was never a diva, and always there. Thomas told me that he had learned so much from her, this being
Mhm.
his first big role, and
Yeah,
and also to have you and Linda there by his
Linda
side
was
as well.
wonderful.
But
Absolutely
what did
wonderful.
what did you like about Thomas? Why did you think he was so great in this role?
He's just, you can't take your eyes off him. He's so sensitive, and he's beautiful. He's absolutely beautiful. And you see his soul. I mean, it's just kind of wearing it on his arm, which I love. I love that. He just gave a great performance.
Yeah, he
And you
really
just,
did.
I mean, your heart just went out to him. And I can't think of, people are saying, well, what are you taking away from this film? Anything I would say would be cliche. You know what I mean? Because of, like, I don't know, respect people who do drag. I don't know. I mean, it's like, what do you say? But I think what it really is like, be true to yourself.
Oh,
Like, I felt he was embarrassed to be doing drag in the beginning, and his boyfriend was saying, this is like not cool.
yes.
And you know, I mean, who knows what his future will be like you think about him as like, what will his future be, you know?
Yeah, but it's also about acceptance too, because I was saying that here's a kid goes to stay with his grandmother,
Yeah.
and no, no questions asked. She completely accepts him for who
Oh, I
he
know, I
is.
love that.
And at
I
the end of
love
the
that.
day, Linda's character too, who's his mom,
Yeah, that was
also,
very moving.
I think that's a really important message in this film.
Oh, it's huge. Absolutely huge. Well, I felt like his mother did accept the fact that he was gay from the very
Yes.
beginning,
Yeah.
but it's like his former boyfriend said, I want you to be gay, but I want you to be a respectable gay man. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because I'm a
Quote
lawyer.
unquote.
You know,
Yeah.
being an actor's okay, but what you're doing is like a little outlandish. And I love the way he described what drag was. I can't remember the exact words, but it was sort of like, this is like, well, screw everything. Screw, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what it is. And so that was great. That was great.
Yeah. Do you ever watch RuPaul's Drag Race?
I have, I'm never sure when anything's on. I'm gonna write that down. I know I love him. I
Yeah.
saw him being interviewed once and I thought, oh, Paul, you know exactly what you're talking about. I said,
Oh,
he knows how to light a lady. And that's been my line too. Said, never from the side
yeah.
and never from above. It
Yes.
always has to be in the front. I said, could you talk to every cameraman in North America for me, please?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I've really gotten into it lately, and this is what I find is when these drag queens, what comes out of it is that it gives them the confidence,
Yes,
and it's amazing. And oh my gosh, I'll never have legs like any of them, but
oh, gorgeous.
honestly.
Sure. I think it is a confidence thing too. You know,
Yes,
you're becoming another person, and well, that's like being an actor too. I
for
mean,
sure.
it's like it is being an actor. It is being an actor. And
Yeah.
when that final thing, I shouldn't give it away with the
No.
skate. Oh,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
sobbing. It was
Yeah, I hear you. I
beautiful.
hear you. No, it's a lovely little film. I'm
Yeah,
so glad you're in it. It's like you said earlier, you've done so many things over the years. And when you get a script now, like, I'm not talking about, okay, I'm gonna make a few bucks, but what gets you? Like, why do you I love even seeing you in that commercial, get off
of
my
course.
lawn.
I
It's
know.
still playing that. I think you did a couple of years ago already.
Yeah,
But
people love that
but
commercial. For
it's
sure.
so much fun always to see you, Jane. So what is it about something when you're offered? What gets you?
Well, if it has to be honest, you know what I mean? As long as it's honest and not like flagrantly stupid. I know it's as Combe Fiore said, I was just talking in another interview. The chap was talking about how Combe Fiore said, I don't pick roles. I'm Canadian. I'm just happy if somebody's nice enough to pick me for a role. And that's basically been my life. And both Combe and I are very happy with it, you
Yeah,
know?
but you're always working. I mean, you always
Yeah,
have
but
been.
a little bit here, a little bit there. I mean, sometimes a lead, sometimes not. It's
Yeah,
I love the process. I love film. It's my happy place. I'm sort of half actor, half human being. I think
yeah,
I'm a better actor than a human being. I'm kind of flaky in the human being side of things. You know, I live in Hamilton now, huh?
yeah,
Yes, I do.
yeah, yeah.
I love
But
it here.
but I have to say, well, look, you started off, I don't know, a couple of years back,
Yeah,
in a little
nice.
production, a little stage production here in Toronto, Godspell, and
Yeah.
I mean, look who came out of that.
Insane. It's just insane. Marty Short, Andrea Martin. Andrea and I were just talking about American Idol. She's stuck in her apartment in New York and she just texted me, said, are you watching? I still see Marty up in Muskoka. I haven't seen Eugene for ages.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he's
uh,
a big star now.
yeah,
Excuse
he's
me.
a big star. He's a sweetheart. He
I
always was
know,
a
I
sweetheart.
know. It's
And
so
beautiful
happy. It's so
Barbara,
lovely to see his son Dan and how they're all doing
Daniel's
so well.
huge.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
but
great. It's
yeah,
great.
but it was funny because I been trying to get out every day to do walks just to get some fresh air, and I
Yeah.
started to listen to Rob Lowe's podcast of all things,
Oh, right
and
there.
he called Literally. It's really interesting. He has a
Okay.
really good, but he did an interview with Catherine O'Hara not too long ago,
She's such a
and so she
genius.
went on and told us, great stories about Gilda Radner and from the days when you
Yeah.
guys were in that show, and telling Toronto stories. And of course, I appreciated it so much because I grew up with you guys. I live here. I know,
Yeah.
and it was interesting to hear his perspective because He'd never heard any of these stories.
That's right. I wonder, yeah, I wonder how that story went over.
Yeah, no, he was fascinated, and I wasn't, you know, but to me, it's like you guys have always been my stars, you know?
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. I remember once I had a little brush with LA, Carsey and Werner. They produced Roseanne and Bill Cosby, and they called me down like for a meeting and blah, blah, blah. Never went anywhere, but we had a lovely meeting. They said, what do they feed you Canadians? You're all hilarious.
So true, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're a funny group.
We are. And last year you did a web series where you played this.
Hey, lady.
Okay, talk about like curmudgeon woman. Wow. Like, did you read that script, Jane, and go, I don't even know if I can say some of that stuff?
I did. Well, at first I actually wasn't going to do it because I had to drop my robe in front of the hot young plumber. I thought, I'm not doing that. And then I was reading, and I said, well, there's an awful lot of dialogue. Oh my God, I don't know. So I said, it's hysterical, but I'm not so sure. And then Sarah Pauly phoned me up and talked me into it and said, you know, the dropping the robe thing is like, we'll work it out. Because I had this pet peeve that so many writers, the only thing they could find funny about old ladies is if they were like hot to trot. You know what I mean? I just didn't like that. I didn't like that sort of opinion of older women.
Yeah.
But then I kept reading, and it's brilliant. Morris Ponich is a brilliant writer. I love saying all those words.
I'm sure. How much fun. Like, you wouldn't say half of that stuff in real life, but
never
to be able to say that?
Never.
Oh my God.
But, yeah, and she just wants to shock the world, you know. I mean, we did have to be careful that the audience wasn't going to absolutely hate her. So we had to ride a fine line, but people seem to love it. They seem to love it. You know, we went to Sundance with it, and John Doyle gave us a great review, and now I'm up for Best Actress for the Actor Awards for it. You know, I just had to do a fake acceptance speech this morning in case I win.
and Jayne Eastwood, who do you thank for your?
Oh my God, I'm so excited in my little office in my house.
I know we got to do.
We got to do. Yeah.
You know what's fun too? I mean, all these productions that get made in Toronto, and you know, when you look at some of the movies that you've been in, like Hairspray, Chicago, Dawn of the Dead, like all these things, that's got to be. You know, because they obviously have to use a lot of Canadian talent, you know, Big Fat Greek Wedding is another great example. You know, getting to work with a lot of these people over the years, who has really stood out for you?
Well, I adored Renee Zellweger. We only had a tiny scene together, but I remember there's been so many great people, you know. She was so sweet. I said, honestly, I think you're the best actress in Hollywood. She went, oh God, thank you so much. Like, she was so humble and adorable. And I've worked with most of the cast from Mary Tyler Moore.
Isn't that true?
Yeah. And Seinfeld. I worked with, you know, Jason Alexander. I worked with Paul Newman. I've worked with Sir Ben Kingsley, and I met Sir Ben Kingsley, you know, on the set. And I said, what should I call you? And he said, well, you can call me Sir Ben. I thought, yeah, go for it, man. An actor from the north of England becomes a sir. Use it, you know. Absolutely. And I found that most of the people that I worked, and Bette Midler, like there were so many of them, very gracious, very, very gracious. Yeah. I do not have a bad thing to say about any big Hollywood star that I've worked with. Not one bad thing.
Yeah, but it's usually the veteran ones that are
because they know who they are. They know who they are, you know. I mean, the thing is, like, I do understand, like, when you're carrying a movie, it's exhausting when, like, I mean, I was #1 on the call sheet and Hey Lady for the first time in my life. And it's exhausting. It's like, I'm used to like smoking in the trailer, although I don't smoke anymore. But
good girl.
I do understand, like, you know, they have that joke, like, don't look her in the face and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You do get tired, and you have to really focus. You know what I mean? So you can't be just be joking around with everybody on the set all the time.
For sure.
And sometimes that comes off as being a bit cranky, but I get it, you know?
Yeah. Oh no, 100%. They're in their mode. I get that too, for sure. So what else do you have coming up? Like, I know it's been hard. Obviously we haven't been shooting and stuff like that, but anything you want to take a break?
Well, I did just do a movie with Colm Feore and called Trigger Point, starring Barry Pepper, who's just
Oh, we love Barry Pepper. Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
He's so great. And we're hoping, and it was a director that I've known for many years. He used to work at SCTV actually. And I did some things that Ray Bradbury shows with him, and he's hoping to make it a trilogy. So
Nice.
I'm the last person you see in the film, so maybe I'll be in the next one. That's what I'm hoping.
Good to know. Well, that's awesome. Well, listen, Jane, I really do appreciate your time today. It's always
You're
such a
lovely.
pleasure to talk to you, and
Thank you.
best of luck with this film. And I'm talking to the awards gods. It's gonna happen.
Oh God. But anyway, this film I think deserves all the attention it's getting. And
Completely agree with you.
I only got to see it because I couldn't go see it because of COVID. So
Yeah.
Phil, it's brilliant. It's
It
absolutely brilliant.
It is, and I was, I'm so happy for you that you were able to bring it full circle and work with Cloris for one last
Oh
time.
my God, yeah.
Lovely.
We had so much fun. I'll tell you one little thing that she did.
Sure.
She's a brat, right? She's such a brat, like a wonderful, adorable brat. And all my close-ups, she just kept going like this.
So how do you get through
All you-
that?
All you can do is laugh, because I knew she was just doing it just for fun. I mean, it might have thrown another actor off, but it doesn't throw me off.
Yeah, well, you're a pro, but I want to know, did the two of you end up playing bridge off camera together?
Oh God, no. It was just no. She was pretty frail. I mean, it was pretty hard for her to do it, and sometimes she had to have cue cards. I don't know if I should mention that, but it didn't matter because she nailed it every time.
Yeah.
She was just brilliant. I mean, Marlon Brando had cue cards, so who cares?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask for them in the next film.
It should be in your next rider.
I
100%.
think so.
Yes, absolutely. Jane, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
I've
you.
always loved talking
Fun.
to you, and hopefully we'll see you in person sometime soon.
That would be great.
All right.
Take
Take care,
care.
Jane.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.